Hey, Kid Fox.
Thank you very much, Crisis. And like he said, get into those giveaways because we love giving away free swag here at GameStar. Thanks to all the sponsors, especially the lads over at Blizzard ANZ. Shout out to the new esports manager as well, recently appointed. Hopefully that means good things for the region. But GL Phoenix, we're going to dive headfirst into this game, deep end, no floaty style. It is Alaskan Pipeline, previously known as City Walk versus Team No Worries on Team Red. So we are going to be on the Infernal Shrines. We're going to be in for a little bit of Punisher action. I'm excited. Let's get amongst it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. We're just waiting for the host of the lobby to find that button and we can get into the draft. There we go. But yes, Infernal Shrines. It's going to be a good match. We've seen some pretty decent things from these teams over the course of the year. They've stuck around a lot of names that have been very familiar to a lot of the players here in the scene. So we're kind of expecting good things from both of these teams.
So the Alaskan Pipeline lads did win the coin toss and they are going to have the first ban. But Infernal Shrines, John Cena, the Punisher himself, will be making an appearance in various lanes, in various forms, hot, cold, and electric, or arcane, if you will. But with 45 seconds ticking down on the clock, it'll be interesting to see what the first ban is going to be. Obviously, a wave clear is important on this map. You need to kill the Shrine Guardians, aka the little dudes. Shout out to Vandy in the chat for that one. And as soon as you get them up, GL Phoenix, it's all on like Donkey Kong.
Pretty much. And also, looking at Infernal Shrines, it is one of those bigger maps. And much like we saw in the previous map on Towers of Doom, the bans going towards Falstad and Dahaka aren't too uncommon, but as we've been seeing, the hovers of the Kerrigan, also a very strong pick, more specifically for this map because of her very easy wave clear when it comes to those shrine phases. And we're looking at the Malfurion ban, a very solid pick when it comes to the support role, and it looks like Alaskan Pipeline don't want to be picking it up first, but they don't want to allow the opportunity over to No Worries to pick that up in that first rotation.
Yeah, Malfurion, very, very common ban, very, very common pick, high win rate as well, just so much versatility. I mean, you spec into Scouting Drone at level 1, you take away, if anybody decides for any reason to go for any Invis character, God forbid, knock wood on that one, Scouting Drone can reveal that, but then Roots just has so much value in locking down multiple targets, and when you get the talent that increases the area of effect of that as well, it just finds value. But we can see a Nubarak, like Daddy Disco was talking about on the Towers of Doom game, and Nubarak very, very strong right now, and it's taken off the board. And Lucio, the first pick for the support role for Alaskan Pipeline.
Okay, that's a bit of an interesting one because recently Lucio has kind of dropped off a cliff in terms of popularity. He did receive what ended up being a rather significant nerf to his healing numbers, and it hasn't really been all that popular. So it's very interesting to see that it ended up becoming a first pick for the Alaskan Pipeline. But the Uther and the Greymane are two very solid picks to go together onto the side of No Worries.
Yeah, Greymane, a lot of potential as well. A lot of physical damage, a lot of poke damage as well with that Gilnan cocktail. Like we were talking about before, Greymane gets a lot of value with that cocktail build, but we've seen of late a lot of players going for that physical attack speed build. Now, Sonya being picked in here in the tank/bruiser role for the Alaskan Pipeline lads. One more to be picked. Who do you think will complement that well, GL Phoenix?
Well, pretty much any other tank can work well with the Sonya. She fills more of a bruiser role more so than a tank. She's not the most durable when it comes to the warrior slot, but she can be very annoying to deal with, and she has a reasonable amount of wave clear. Can do so well around those shrines. It is going to be the Johanna alongside that Sonya, so they have a very decent front line to work with. And once we get through this second round of bans, towards the end of the draft, we'll be seeing how they're going to fill out their damage rolls.
So red band now, they've got 45 seconds ticking away on that one. Looking at the composition here for the Alaskan Pipeline lads, like you said, Sonya does have decent wave clear, but they could use more, I feel, GL Phoenix. So I wouldn't be surprised if the van goes the way of someone like Valor here, or potentially even Gul'dan, or maybe even somebody able to lock down those points and get a bit of global pressure on somebody like a Falstad, or maybe even the Dahaka, like we've seen that they were the first two bans in the first map. Then we see Valor being taken off the board. So yeah, a lot of value with Valor, a lot of wave clear, a lot of physical attack damage, and a disengage as well. She pretty much just has the full package.
Yeah, pretty much. She's very well-rounded in that regard, can do a bit of everything and do it quite well at that. And as we're looking at the lineup that we already have on the side of Alaskan Pipeline, they're only pretty much needing damage unless they're wanting to go for a double support composition or a triple warrior composition. We only just need to see some damage come out of them at this point. So taking that Valor away, one of the more consistent of heroes, it's a really nice takeaway on the side of No Worries. And now we're just waiting in for that second ban to come in on the side of Alaskan Pipeline. I'm going to probably get messed up on that quite a bit tonight.
Apparently they say don't Google it. I haven't done so. And if somebody tells you not to Google something, what does 90% of people do? Damn right, they go and Google it. So with 10 seconds now, just ticking away, Diablo being hovered here for the ban for the Alaskan Pipeline, lads. Team No Worries, I think they'll be okay at the moment. They do have Uther, they do have Greymane. Still the potential another healing slot open and even a tank as well. But now Diablo being taken off the board from the Alaskan Pipeline, lads. So No Worries, they've got themselves a double pick here. Expect to see perhaps something like an Arthas picked up. He's able to lock down targets, able to do decent damage to the little dudes around the shrines. And he's got, he finds good value as well.
Yeah, the Arthas actually pretty good on this map, mostly because, he's just very good in general right now, and it can be very obnoxious to deal with. But on this map, on Infernal Shrines, if he is able to get a very forward position when it comes to the Shrine phase, you have to force your opponent to come into you, and that pretty much cuts out a lot of his detracting elements. You're not really the first in, the easiest in to the fights when you're an Arthas. So if you put yourself in a position where you are forcing your opponent to take out that problem, you are going to be very happy, and it would work very well with what the side of No Worries has so far. So wouldn't be too surprising to see an Arthas pick up.
3 seconds ticking down. Tychus, again, very good wave clear, and there it is, GL Phoenix. So I like these two picks. I like them a lot. So much damage on the side of the No Worries lads at the moment. Probably could do with a little bit more CC in terms of locking down targets. At the moment, they really do rely on Arthas a lot to land those Howling Blasts. But now double pick for the Alaskan Pipeline to round out their final two. Expect them to pick someone like an auto attacker. I don't know if we'd see a Rainer on this map. I mean, he does do a lot of damage, but maybe even Kerrigan to complement Sonya as well in the double bruiser role. Tannis, he finds a lot of value, but I don't think you'd find him in this sort of lineup with Johanna and Sonya already on the board.
Yeah, going into a very melee-heavy composition, you can get taken advantage of, especially going into an Arthas who very much excels in those very brawly kind of situations. Just looking at the composition that we have from Alaskan Pipeline, we could even see something like an Azebo come in. We actually are going to go with the Ragnaros and the Kalthar, so going for that third melee, but still having a lot of AoE damage and can really do a lot of work when we get into these shrine phases. If the Ragnaros is allowed to get into that Molten Core, can pretty much completely deny a Punisher on the side from their opponents. If you can get it at the right time, the Punisher is not going to be doing any damage to your structures, and they'll be able to deal with it and also force away the map. So a pretty decent pick for this map, but with the Kel'Thas in there as well, they also have a lot of AoE damage to work with.
Yeah, I really like the Kael'thas pick here coming out from the Alaskan Pipeline lads. They realise that No Worries have already taken an Uberak off the board, and they really don't have a lot of dive on their side. So I really like Kael'thas. He's got a lot of room to move, a lot of space to breathe, and a lot of damage to throw out. And I wouldn't be surprised at all, GL Phoenix, if we see him topping at least the siege damage here, potentially going for maybe a convection build as well. So hopefully to get those stacks up very, very fast and just deal ridiculously insane amounts of damage. Now, Tyrael being picked up. There is the dive that we were talking about. We saw Judgment be picked up in Towers of Doom, GL Phoenix, and it paid dividends.
Yeah, and Tyrael also, it feels like a very pseudo support kind of role. He can shield up his allies. He can just mitigate some of the damage. He also has inbuilt spell armor, so he can sort of resist some of the damage coming in from the Kel'Thas. So he will be fine to kind of be in his faces, force him to be a little bit more careful. So I have to see just how aggressive this Tyrael is going to be playing, and whether or not we see the Judgment or the Sanctification. We saw the Judgment in the previous game doing a lot of work and locking down those high value targets, but we'll have to see how the first 10 levels actually plays out and how that influences some of these heroic choices as we get into it.
So just ticking away now. I'm really excited, GL Phoenix. We've got Kira on Johanna, Arrow on Ragnaros, MKL on Lucio, Gorgorath on Kael'thas, and Nuke Guardian on Sonya going. That is Alaskan Pipeline. Going up against No Worries, it will be Tommy on Material, Moon Druid on Uther, Laker on Arthas, Altivian on Greymane, and his partner in crime, dishing out the damage, is the man with the minigun himself, Tychus Finlay. That's Jez Mez. So we're going to roll into this one, GL Phoenix. I'm so excited. I'm excited. Keep your eye on my man Arrow and on those Molten Cores. Like you said, the ability to lock down and deny any shrine. All he has to do is just realize that if his team loses the fight, he needs to stay alive, pop that MC, and just do what he can to pick up those cheeky kills and maybe, the cheeky last 5 or so minions.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they position themselves, and we'll have to see very much how these early levels go ahead, because we will more than likely be seeing Sonya in the solo lane, and probably on the top side, we'll have to see who ends up going up against them. Probably would be the Tyrael, and some of these early fights aren't really going to be amounting to too much, but it's all about that positioning and getting ready for that first shrine phase.
I've played against MKL a bit in both quick match and the HL queues. He's not a bad Lucio. He loves the support role, knows what he's doing as well. And as we take a look at the talents, he has picked up We Move Together. So not opting for the quest here, going for a much more team-centric play.
Yeah, the Lucio, as I mentioned at the start of the draft, when it was picked up as the very first pick of the draft, he has fallen off a fair bit. But he's going to be my big question mark on this whole composition coming out of Alaskan Pipeline. Whether or not he is going to be in a position to deal or dish out a lot of those healing numbers that we're used to seeing in the past. But it looks like they're trying to catch him out in rotation.
Yeah, the Howling Blast did find the target there. There was nobody to collapse on. Moondruid's taking a lot of damage, eats a Living Bomb, eats a Q as well, and a great Meteor coming out there from Arrow on the Ragnaros. Moondruid took a lot of damage, 50%. Thank you for coming. But they were unable to capitalize and dunk on a kill. But like you said, GL Phoenix, Nuke Guardian on that Sonya in the top lane, and Jezmez is up there with that armor shred, just does so much damage to Sonya.
Yeah, he should have a decent time, but as we do have the others coming in, this could be a potential kill.
Yeah, Nuke Guardian now, he's taking a lot of damage. Howling Blast connects, caught in the AoE, and that will be first blood. Laker and Jezmez combining, picking up the kill, and Sonya with that farm did pick up Warpaint and does for that 30% heal. So that's a nice one there, but is completely useless when you're looking at a spawn timer.
Yeah, and now it's forcing up another rotation from Arrow, but he's going to get taken down very low. He's actually just going to die from the nice little pickup there from Jezmez and Leica, realizing that a member of the Alaskan Pipeline was needed to move up. As we see on the bottom side, the Kael'thas does fall as well. The Lucio can be very useful in the team, but doesn't have that burst healing, and with the amount of just all in on the side of No Worries that we have, the Lucio is going to have a bit of a struggle up until 10.
The fantastic Howling Blast and Frost Presence combo coming out from Laker here allowed Jezmez to just throw the grenade, deal out the shred damage, and he's not even coming down for the bottom here for the shrines. He realizes that there's 4 down there. The level advantage was just nullified, as they did get enough soak on, did the Alaskan Pipeline lads, just to level it up a bit, but they're completely leaving this shrine uncontested. It's going to be a Mortar Punisher with 3, 2, 1 more minion, and that is it. In the bottom lane, here we go.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The first one is okay to give up. You can kind of mitigate a lot of the advantages from the first Punisher. It doesn't. You're not going to be pushing in the base with just his first Punisher, so they are just going to be spreading out around the rest of the map, just trying to pick up experience wherever they can. They will be able to get those first 2 towns at the front, but not much more will be able to get gained from this first Punisher. But still, a nice little pickup there for the side, as they do end up popping that Molten Core.
Good Molten Core coming out there from Arrow. He's realizing that there's not really much he can do in terms of damage to the opposing team, but he will take out that Punisher, pops back into regular mode, and now we can see the No Worries guys. They're going to go for the camps, so the Satyrs will be picked up by them. Nobody's going to spot that, so it's going to be a complete surprise here to the Alaskan Pipeline lads. And now Kira has gone up into the top lane and swapped off with Nuke Guardian, who's gone down, rotating to the mid.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting
Leica.
change. Oh, a bit of an aggressive positioning there from Leica.
Yeah, Leica needs to be careful here. Went very, very deep going for Alaskan Pipeline status. Gorgorov's going to be caught out here, but no! Great sound blast coming out there from Lucio. The Q getting it done, knocking them away. Definitely saved Gorgorov's life there.
That was brilliant play there from the Lucio, but on the bottom side, Nuke Guardian stepping forward a little bit too far, taking a lot of damage, but we managed to survive that. But as you mentioned, both of the mercenary camps, it looks like it's going to be all 3 mercenary camps going to the side of No Worries, so they're in a very good position right now.
Yeah, mid lane copping a lot of punishment from both of those mid camps, so No Worries taking the map advantage by the horns and riding it almost literally with 2 mercenary camps into the Alaskan Pipeline's mid lane, and you can see it just dishing out so much damage. Poor old Nuke Guardian down in the bottom lane. It doesn't matter what lane Sonya is going into at the moment. Another bottom camp's being picked up by No Worries. Nuke Guardian is just getting shut down. Sonya just doesn't have any room to breathe. Arrow trying to force the engage out here onto Moon Druid. It's always good to see Uther swinging his hammer around and think he can do damage.
Yeah, and with this very melee-centric composition coming out of Alaskan Pipeline, they are going to almost struggle to clear these waves safely. If there's any kind of pressure coming out from No Worries, they have to be very careful with how they try and clear these waves. And with Kale Dance as the only wave clear, he can only be in one place at a time.
He doesn't have a lot of mobility at all, and we can see another Q coming out there from Gorgoroth. Just going to have a look at his talents. He did actually pick up Mana Addict as opposed to Convection or even a Living Bomb talent. So going for sustainability as opposed to damage, and now we can see the Shrine. It's going to be a Frozen Punisher in the mid lane this time, and No Worries. They are wasting absolutely no time already, 10 on the board.
Yeah, they've already got the very good positioning, and now it looks like Alaskan Pipeline are going to start trying to make the way onto the point, but it's going to be very hard with Kira so low on health so far.
The Alaskan Pipeline, they're torn at the moment, GeoPhoenix. They don't really know, should we contest this? Should we just give it up? Hey, we gave up the first one. We're behind 1 level. Can we really afford? No, we can't. And here we go. The engage comes in. Tommy just separating the Alaskan Pipeline lads. Great play there from the Tyrael with the Q. And now another kill. That is Johanna. And MKL goes down. It's all coming up. No worries. Nuke Guardian now. Q's away. Poor old Tibian did miss the Gillinan cocktail. Doesn't matter, wouldn't have picked up the kill, but that is 4 frags for No Worries. They've got the 2-level advantage. They're going to get another Punisher. And at the moment, GeoPhoenix, there's not a lot standing between John Cena and that mid tower.
Yeah, that was just an absolute whitewash in that fight, and that's kind of the problem that I was expecting to see as with this Lucio. He doesn't have that anti-burst healing, as a grenade knocks him out of the Molten Core.
Yeah, great displacement grenade coming out there from Jezmez. Like you said, that Molten Core now completely nullified. And this tower, that's pretty much the nail in the coffin. Leica now getting a great Frost Presence here onto Kira, but so much mitigation coming out. Great heals coming out from MKL, but it does look like, oh no, great D coming out there from Johanna into the Odin mode now from Jezmez. That first tower's gone down, but the Molten Core cooldown has been reset. Nuke Guardian needs to be careful. Spin to win. Punisher jumps over the wall. This first tower, these gates at the second tower taking a lot of damage. Jezmez wants them down. He gets 1 tower, and that is a great fight there for No Worries. They now have a 3-level advantage at 7 minutes in, and they have not lost a tower.
Yeah, absolutely. They just have so much control right now around the map. Throughout all of that play, we had the Greyman on the bottom side taking care of that bottom keep, and they just want to keep on playing so very aggressively right now.
Kira just trying his luck there, but got caught out, as does Nuke Guardian on the Sonya. So now no frontline at all for the Alaskan Pipeline lads. And great pick there from Jezmez with the grenade coming out. And No Worries are continuing to tighten their iron grip on this map, GeoPhoenix. They're going to take, a 4-level advantage now for a brief moment. But there's nobody soaking here for Alaskan Pipeline. They have got any kills on the board. They've got nobody soaking XP right now. It's not looking good.
Yeah, and with only the heroics just now coming up for the side of Alaskan Pipeline, they've already given up a little bit too much. They were trying to defend, but they were just not really respecting the amount of damage and the amount of control coming out of the side of No Worries, and they have paid for it. We even had the lava wave coming down on the bottom side to get a little bit of control of the waves back in their favor, but this is going to be a very hard fight back into the game for the Alaskan Pipeline.
Lava Wave is opposed to Sulfurous Smash on this map, Geo thinks. We'll get to that one in a minute, but Laker has been caught out. Good body blocks coming out, and there's an absolute clown fiesta. In goes the Phoenix, but the Gravity Lapse comes out, does catch Laker out now as Arthur's got a long way to run, does manage to connect the Howling Blast. Frost Presence is going to find, well done. Sonya goes down now, Gorgoroth falls, so Kael'thas, Sonya are down. Ragnaros needs to be careful or he will soon follow suit, and still no kills on the board for Alaskan Pipeline, aka the team formerly known as City Walk.
Yeah, just a little bit unfortunate there as the Lucio was not able to get that sound barrier off, got interrupted during the cast, so it was completely nullified, didn't get it off, and that pretty much spelled the end of that fight. They did not have the shields to help just sustain through all of that damage coming out from No Worries, and they just got wiped yet again, and we have a very early Molten Core coming out from the Ragnaros, and that's going to be a tool that they will not be able to use coming into this next Punisher defense.
He was sort of choked into that one because he had 3 No Worries players knocking on the door of that tower, and the Molten Core was forced out nice and early. Did get a bit of damage off, but it was quickly healed up there by Uther and his Wave of Lights. He's got so much sustainability at the moment. Now Kira on that front line just blows the Condemn. And got a decent cooldown on that one, gets another one off, and in goes Tommy. The Phoenix goes in, but it's not going to be enough because No Worries, they've got themselves an Arcane Punisher. Great Gravity Lapse coming out there, catching Laker, but the Howling Blast goes in. Now Frost Presence is doing work. Sound Barrier now goes down, but it is not going to be enough. 1 kill, 2 kills, they're falling over like 10 pins. MKL manages to get away with a speed boost. So that is a great engage here for No Worries. GL Phoenix, I think this game is very, very close to done.
Yeah, it's just going from bad to worse for the side of Alaskan Pipeline. They tried to get a fight going. They wanted to find any kind of position into that fight, but with how far they are behind, they just don't have the tools to stick around in these fights. And even though it was a very good sound barrier coming out this time, they just did not have follow-up. And with that Sanctification just nullifying any kind of counter-engage coming out from Alaskan Pipeline, it's just allowing the rest of No Worries to be pretty much have no worries at all. They can just keep on moving forward, dealing all of this damage, and they're in an incredible position right now.
Well, the Alaskan Pipeline lads need to start praying to various gods of various religions if they are going to be any chance of a win here against No Worries. As I say that, No Worries take the Shaman camp away from Alaskan Pipeline as well. So that's just more XP tonight. It's level 12 versus level 16, a full talent, 2 talent tier advantages. This is huge for No Worries here. I mean, they're like the big bully that corners you in the alley and says, give me your lunch money. And poor old Alaskan Pipeline is got nothing to say, but yep, take it.
Yeah, they have to be very careful with how they play out the rest of this game. They want to be proactive. I like that they're wanting to be proactive and making plays, but they are way behind right now. They're not even level 13. They just get it, but they have to be so much more careful with their positioning, with their engagements than what they are, because every time they try and go in, we've seen it. They just get turned on, and just the amount of control and damage. And with this Tyrael coming in with the Sanctification, it's very hard for this Alaskan Pipeline team to actually get much going in these fights because, as you mentioned, still no kills on the side of Alaskan Pipeline.
Go for the Throat has been picked up for Greymane, so Altivian's going to find some value with that as we have a look at his stats. 4-10 and 0. Well, no, like we said, no deaths for the No Worries lads. This is a training run for them at the moment. Now, Kira just trying to B-step. A little bit of BM coming out there from the Alaskan Pipeline lads. But look at this lane pressure coming out here, GL Phoenix. All 3 lanes have got minions and camps flowing in. Another shrine is going to come up. And if Alaskan Pipeline can't do anything about this, this Punisher may very well walk right into the base. But Kira's been caught out, forced to blow D and go unstoppable. Great lava wave comes out from Alaskan Pipeline. Is it going to be a kill? No! Sanctification saves the day. Well done there from Tommy. And they reverse it. MKL goes down. That was almost what Alaskan Pipeline needed, but Tommy to the rescue with the Sank. Another Howling Blast comes out. Frost Presence, go for the Throat. And poor old Gorgoroth on Kael'thas just really did not have an answer. Molten Core now has been popped and forced them to run away. Nuke Guardian jumps in now. Ragnaros is going to deal a lot of damage here, but Nuke gets melted. And Ragnaros is on the other team. Oh my goodness, have a look at the No Worries lads just progress their way in here, flexing their muscles. And I'll tell you what, GL Phoenix, this is this is disastrous for Alaskan Pipeline now. No Worries are going to comfortably take this shrine. It's going to be a Mortar Punisher. That mid lane is completely exposed. They are in trouble, our Alaskan.
If this game was a little bit closer, like they were on reasonably close in terms of levels, maybe 2 behind, that would have been an incredible fight for the side of Alaskan Pipeline. They had the combo that they wanted. They pretty much had the lava wave go across the entirety of No Worries, and they engaged really well, but they were just not able to take out Tommy quick enough. And as you mentioned, that Sanctification came out and just completely nullified that entire engagement coming out from Alaskan Pipeline, and they were just able to turn it around so well. And again, still no kills on the side of Alaskan Pipeline, and they're just trying so very hard to just get a kill. They're so close so many times, but with this Tyrael and with this Uther having so many ways to keep the allies alive, they're just not able to get there as the sound barrier gets blown very early.
Yeah, they've baited out the sound barrier there from MKL. Now Kira on the front line taking a lot of damage. Jesmez shredding him with that Tychus. All he has to do is press D, and that's thanks for coming down. Leica getting that Frost presence in, doing work. Howling Blast finding the targets. I don't think Leica has actually missed a Howling Blast tonight, GL Phoenix, but it's been an absolute team effort from No Worries. They've taken down they've got the Punisher, they've taken down the Alaskan Pipeline lads. It's going to be a flawless victory as well. No frags for Alaskan, too easy for No Worries. They progress. GGs go out. What a game.
Yeah, it was a great game coming out from No Worries. They just controlled it from start to finish. Once they got that little bit of a lead, they knew how to punish as much as they could, and that's pretty much what we saw for the entirety of the game. We did see Alaskan Pipeline start to try and make some aggressive plays, try and fight their way back into the game, but by that point, they were already too many levels behind, and they didn't have the tools to finish off any of those kills, and they just didn't have that final blow towards the end.
Well, GL Phoenix, the time has come to pick ourselves an MVP, and it's going to be really hard because every single player on No Worries did their job. They did it to a T, and the team synergy just comes together like a jigsaw with all the pieces. It's just so good. But who is your pick for MVP?
Well, it's going to be a hard one because, as you mentioned, they all played very well, and it was a very coordinated effort from No Worries, but I'm really not sure who to give it to. I mean, Tychus, the Jesmez on the Tychus did a lot of damage and was doing a lot of work in just finishing off some of those kills and even just bursting down a lot of those tanks. And then we have the front line of the Tyrael, the Arthas, and the Uther. They were just so on point with a lot of those clutch saves. But man, I think I will end up giving it to Jesmez on that Tychus. He did a lot of damage, and just with that Thor, he was able to apply a lot of pressure on their opponents and really just completely shut down any of that front line on the side of Alaskan Pipeline.
Yeah, I was torn between Jesmez and Tommy on the Tyrael as well for that fantastic sanctification that came out, but I'm going to have to give it to Jesmez as well because like you said, 3 and 19, 23, he was a part of every single kill bar one there. He did 48,000 hero damage and was second on XP. So well done to Jesmez picking yourself up the MVP nomination. But that is it for round 2, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to pass you back to Tychus, to Crisis, to take us to the break.
Thank you very much, Kit Fox. And what a demonstration on the part of No Worries as they cut down that Alaskan Pipeline in round number 2 of tonight's proceedings. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, in about 5 minutes, bringing you round number 3 of tonight's Swiss bracket and getting closer and closer to the business end for a lot of teams. So a lot of anticipation building up for those top 8 that will be going through the playoffs. Don't go away. We'll be right back.